me and Jock's conversation went like this. Um, do you remember hearing me talking about diving under the waves instead of like building a boat? Do you
Yeah.
remember hearing me talking about that with Jacques? So Jacques said, I was thinking about the dive under the waves thing you said while I was at work. Was getting caught in useless thought loops slash scenarios, and it kind of helped, or really just turn my thoughts off and let the feelings settle. I like the idea of being able to summon emotions as you would with frameworks, but without pretense, simply calling on the feeling for the sake of the feeling. I don't know how that'd be done though, and I don't know if I executed the waves thing right. But yeah, you could explain it again pointedly when you have the time. So listen to this, bro. I just fucking popped the fuck off. I was gonna do school, and then he messaged me, and I was like, thank God. And I said, frameworks are do not require pretense. Only language does. Obviously, take out the R. Frameworks do not require pretense. Only language does. Frameworks are just the physical substrate responsible for thought textures. The emotions you're talking about are thought textures. The pretense is the language you use to rationalize those thought textures. When you talk about turning off your thoughts and getting down to feelings, what you're really doing is turning off language to get down to thought texture. Imagine the difference between raw code and your experience of that code as a video game. The raw code is a framework. That's your brain arranging neurochemicals into particular thought textures. He says, thanks. So are you going to school for neuroscience or what? And I said, yes, but it's worthless. I'm technically going for psychology at the moment, but I was going to go for neuropsychopharmacology and they're connected. Um, and he said, breaking news, Mr. Dingleberth meth too. Cool, cool. Thanks. Talk soon. And I said, basically what you talked about in I like the idea of being able to summon emotions as you would with Framer, but without the pretense, simply calling on the feeling for the sake of the feeling. That's everything Jock said. And then in response to what Jock said, I said, in summoning, so I said, reread everything I just read, but then just like quote around it. I said, basically what you talked about in opening quote, I like the idea of being able to summon emotions as you would with Framework, but without the pretense, simply calling on the feeling for the sake of the feeling, closing quotation, is summoning thought textures directly. That is very possible. It is the point of frameworks to me. Individual frameworks just give those thought textures names, like a bookmark, so you can access it quickly and not forget it. www.facebook.com exists whether or not you have it bookmarked. In the same way, if I have really cool guy framework for talking to women, those thought textures or of confidence can exist in your brain with or without the bookmark. You can have the same confidence without intentionally running the framework, but having it summarized into a framework can increase consistency and ease of access so you don't lose it when you see a dadgum gorgeous bitch and start getting nervous. You did it right at work. Getting under the waves is getting under the language. If you stop perceiving thought textures as jagged language fragments and instead listen to the music underneath the words directly, you are riding the riptide. Building the boat, the bad thing, is trying to force a series of faulty early 2000s rinky-dink human words into the shape of your entire brain. That's where all the dumb thought loops come from. So stop building a boat and go under. Those are the emotions you felt. And then when you find a really good emotion that you want to preserve, slap a name on it, like Razor Dildo Asser for 30,000, and boom shakalaka, you got your ass a framework. Isn't that such a good fucking explanation?
Yeah. I love that final part.
Yeah. It's literally, and dude, this thing Jacques said back, which I knew was what he had to say, is, bro, I finally get frameworks now. So
Jeez.
funny. So
It
funny.
took him this long.
Yeah. But that is, I finally explained it to him in a way he understands, which is, it's not like the way he always misinterpreted it was he thought frameworks are the language. And what I was always trying to tell him is, you dunce, it's not the language, it's the thing underneath the language that you want. And now he finally gets it. The point isn't to do it, the point is just to be a bookmark for the thing that you want. Such a great explanation framework. To me, the www.facebook.com is the perfect way to explain a framework. Facebook exists with or without your bookmark. The framework just exists as a way to get to Facebook quickly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, framework for bookmarks. Very interesting.
You betcha. So, yeah, there's that. And then we kept talking, and then the rest of it's decent, but it's not as good as that. He said, though I don't know, some of my favorite thought textures are those that I get when I perceive danger, like the charge in a room before a fight. It's beautiful, but maybe that comes from the energy of the people around me. What do you think of that? Like when there's tension, you could cut it with a knife. Same with romantic tension. Wouldn't trying to summon that make you delusional? And I said, picture other people like a song. A song is a framework. A good song will give you good thought textures. Good other people can give you good thought textures, but you don't need them. And he says, sounds like schizophrenia. And I said, I can have the feeling of waging war across dimensions while sitting on the toilet if I play my frameworks right. And you should read Deleuze. His whole philosophy was based around schizophrenia. He thought it was a powerful tool. And then Jock said, I was thinking of that earlier, though. You could simulate what you think war would feel like, not real war. That's what I believe, which is dangerous to me. That's why young men romanticize war and then find it terrible. And I said, as long as you don't get stuck on what you think war is like, you'll be fine. Think about fighting. There are mindsets that are much better than others, but sitting on the couch all day thinking about it will never be quite the same as getting punched in the face. Best to have a balance of both. As long as you don't get attached to it, you'll be fine. And he said, like the paranoia of being followed when you're actually being followed versus when Jock is smashing his iPhone in an ambulance and the CIA can't find him. In parentheses, I would never. And I said, then it all comes down to maximum efficiency. Frameworks could absolutely lead you to delusion if they are not grounded in an exterior principle. Frameworks are literally the ungrounding of truth. If you throw truth up in the air and have nothing to replace it, don't be surprised when it crashes back down in your head. That's what will to taste is for, smiley face. If you wouldn't spit in God's face for $1, he wouldn't like you. And then Josh instilling doubt in my reality. Originally, I was aggressively trying to break all delusion, which led to solipsism, and I somehow actually nearly internalized it. And I said, instead of solipsism, go allipsism. There is nothing but me, and there is no point where things stop being me. Doubt in reality is not an issue in itself, but when it's out of your grasp to control it, it can be very harsh. Others forcing doubt would be unsurprisingly brutal. And then I sent myself a voice message and I said, haha, wrong chat. That was meant for notes and stuff. But anyways, overall, pretty good conversation, don't you think?
Who said the solipsism line?
Me.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Yeah. Um, it's so funny. Like the last few days have just been garbage days. Like I've got COVID. I'm sitting. I'm not even fucking trying to do anything. And for some reason, my brain is still just like kicking. It's also so interesting how, for some reason, arguing with Jacques makes me sound like a fucking like a genius. And it's like I was sitting around thinking about fucking Fortnite 360 no scopes. I was
You just
actually
need someone lower than you to like realize like, oh yeah, I definitely know what's going on here, at least in
yeah.
relation to you guys.
Yeah, but not just that, but like actively, if I'm arguing with someone else, then it's like I finally have like the incentive to be perfect. You know what I mean? It's the same way that like whenever you're listening to Bernardo Kastrup, then you're suddenly a genius because you see all the ways he's wrong. But then whenever you're just sitting around fucking playing video games, you're not thinking about any of that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the perfect cannon fodder. Um, but yeah, yeah. Overall, I'm on a fucking hot streak, man. My words are finally pretty again. Do you remember how for so long I was just like I can't articulate anything. None of my words are coming out right. It's always so stuttery and jarring and fragmented. And now I'm it's finally like music and it just fucking pours out of my mouth like a symphony and it perfectly articulates what I'm saying. I haven't even been on Adderall for like fucking 2 weeks now and still it's just it's all perfect. It's so strange. It's so weird. God. Um
And do you think that if you went off of caffeine, do you think that would change?
Oh, I've been off caffeine. I was off of caffeine the other day with COVID, and I was still fucking balling. No, it's all just it's all the religious high. Basically, what happened was I burned so hot like the 2 weeks before you came in that I could fucking play Fortnite for the next 3 weeks, and I'd still be on a higher level than I have been over the past year. Like I boosted myself so fucking high with the framework progress over the weeks before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And then I said something else. Yeah, right here in our conversation. I said, uh, the me and you framework was one that I thought was really interesting. I got it during sub one. I imagined Gavin, and there was this moment where I imagined Gavin as me. Like I couldn't like it what like I literally in my head I could not disentangle the thought textures between Gavin and young me. Like I couldn't figure out where the borders were. Like I just imagined Gavin as young me, and like there was no I couldn't actually delineate between the two. It was very strange. It's a strange experience. But in that moment, I just like understood that like Gavin literally is younger me. Like even after I understood, obviously, even after I could delineate between the two, I understood that like that is a metaphor for obviously the religious sense of the zero separation. But even beyond that, even on an entirely materialistic level, he is like genetically and experientially closer to me than almost anyone else on the entire planet could be. And even if like he doesn't agree with me or understand my religious ideas yet, just from a purely like I didn't understand those when I was fucking 10 years old or whatever either, right? Like just from a purely like me at that age, he is like more similar to me at that age than like anyone else like ever could even dream of being. And like I just saw him as me. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like I didn't see that as like I didn't see that as like you should be nicer to him or anything like that. It was like a literal understanding, like a visceral realization that like Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
like
so like what is that how do you use that framework? And is it only directed towards him?
no, no. So from that moment, I thought what I need to start doing is whenever I'm arguing with my mother, I need to literally talk to her as if I'm sitting in her head and she has a couple different experiences. So like whenever I'm arguing with my mother and she says something completely retarded, What I need to say is I need to literally talk to the me that is hidden behind her framework. Like I'm in there.
It's like
I
the me
know
who
I'm in there.
shapeshifted into that form that would think that thought.
Exactly. Exactly. Not from like a God perspective, but from a, I'm always right. You have the capability to be right. So I'm in there somewhere. I know I'm buried deep down in your head somewhere underneath the form of mother, and I just gotta fucking dig it out. And isn't that a good framework? The me and you framework.
Yeah, that's all.
Uh and then um and then the man behind the moon framework. This is like the key to everything. This is the same thing as the top of the pyramid. I don't know how yet. Like I do, but I don't know how to explain it yet. Um, and I don't even really fully know. I just know that in a couple days I will. It's weird that happens, isn't it? Like sometimes you just get an intuition. It's like, yeah, this thing's cooking, but oh, it'll be done soon. um,
It's like the beginning of a chapter. You've got an intuition on how it ends.
yeah, and then like you can't even like manually work on it. It's just like you just have to like let your brain just sort of fucking stew it out, put it in the fucking crock pot, let her cook. Um, but so the man behind the moon is this concept where I just viscerally saw it. Like I saw it both before and then especially listening to my old voice messages. I just perfectly understood how like I don't even know how to explain it to you. I could break down crying right now how beautiful it is. It's just like the understanding, like true, like and there's this is meaningless for me to say. Meaningless for me to say. Um, truly, it's all framework. Like so meaning, so beyond meaningless for me to say those words. But like when listening back to these old voice messages of myself and listening back to before I ever even had like a solid idea of God and God was just a framework, you can hear so clearly how thinking of God as God is nothing but a hindrance, and how only you can only understand God through thinking about Him as framework, and how like back then I had such a crystal clear, vivid understanding of God, and how I didn't think about Him as God at all, and how every time I get anywhere close to that, I'm so much better off, and like the true final understanding of that, and how like that ties into like the genius framework. How like there are these versions of myself that are like just a genius. Like he's just capable of just like flicking through a million thoughts in a second and just finding the right one, like someone's flicking through a fucking stack of sticky notes. And understanding how that is the same thing as doing everything as frameworks, and how that is the same thing as going under the tide, the rip tide, and how that's the same thing as framework and framework ooze, and the top of the pyramid, and the will to taste, because all of them are just stepping back. All of them are just not identifying with any individual framework, just going beneath the language. Like, you hear I've just ran through like every fucking framework for the past goddamn year, but like they are all truly the same thing when you fucking see the framework, see how like it isn't like the idea of framework or the idea of religion, but it's just stepping back. It's just like not identifying with any particular one. And obviously that's retarded because just like you think of that from like a religious perspective of not identifying because you are God, but it's not identifying because you are God. It's just truly not identifying. And it's like the God comes out of that. It's not God is not a thing which you find. God is the end point of the process. Only through relinquishing truth, only through perfectly relinquishing identity, only from stepping back from any individual thought the moment that it comes up can you possibly find God. He's waiting for you at the end of that. He isn't there without it. God is a result of the process. You can't have a raspberry without the fucking bush or where the fuck it grows on. Oh, I don't know how to explain this, but it's so fucking there. It's right there for me to fucking explain whenever I get the word for it. It's over. Jesus. But the
But
man
yeah,
behind the
it's awesome that like the frameworks conclusions are what we began with. It's like the completing of the circle.
yes, it is closed circle, baby. Holy shit. Um, closed loop, fucking open loop, closed loop. Back to those frameworks. I can explain how those fit in. I mean, truly, I see it all. I see. It's not like I finally have this one framework that'll be the key to everything. It's like I get all of every other framework I ever had and how they tie into the bigger picture. It's beautiful. God, it's beautiful. Um, but so the reason I call it the man behind the moon. At first, I was calling it the man behind the framework. But I just like the man behind the moon better. But I mean, the man behind the framework is a more accurate like name. Um, but basically, it's like what you have to do is you just have to literally be the man behind the framework. Like what you like you so like old framework was the concept wasn't like I ruined it by thinking about it as a framework. Framework was never a framework. Framework was the detachment from any individual framework. And like that is what the man behind the moon framework does is it just makes it where all you do, you're not running a framework. You're just the thing which is arranging the frameworks. Like that's the whole framework, and it's it. That's all you need. Oh my god! If you can understand that one thing, it's holy shit! It's wonderful. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely fucking transcendental. But yeah, just need to explain that. Yeah, I just need to buckle down and fucking figure out how to explain that. But Jesus, that is the key to everything. Just not running a framework, but just stepping behind the frameworks. If we're thinking about frameworks as bookmarks, the goal is not to bookmark the perfect one. The goal is just to view every single individual nuance as its own bookmark and not as a thing in itself. There is no end to that. That process never, ever, ever ends. That was what I was saying the other day whenever I was saying you cannot ever stop drilling. If you ever stop to rest, then you're dead. Like there's no platform which you can rest upon. You can move down or you can move up. You can either continue making progress or you can have your progress ripped away from you. You know what I mean? It's like you're trying to drill to China and you got a fucking balloon strapped to your back, and every second you're not drilling, you're floating back towards the fucking surface. That's what trying to understand everything as frameworks is like. Um, oh
Like
god,
a shark in the water.
yeah. And there is no platform. That's the thing you just have to remember. There's no platform. You're never gonna find. Oh, look, this is God. I can stop now. Finally, I'm done. No, you can't. You fool. God. But yeah, I'll figure out how to explain that better. But that's the gist. Well, on that note, I have to get school done so we can record tomorrow. So I should probably go and go. But you betcha.
Already.
All right, talk to
God,
you tomorrow.
God.